everybody loves the sunshine, except these poor bastards on this spaceship. Because
well, they love it. They just don't know how to stay out of it.
Yeah, I know. And what you have here is a movie by Danny Boyle, the guy who did 28 Days Later and also did Train Spotting and Millions and
Shallow Grave.
And what's that movie? The Beach?
Oh, yeah, The Beach.
The Beach, yeah. So, I mean, give or take. I mean, I don't like all of his movies, but I think he's a really good director.
Well, what's interesting about Danny Boyle is that Danny Boyle is one of those really brilliant genre directors who goes from genre to genre and is unafraid to make very different types of movies every time he sets out. I mean, here's a guy who got big because he adapted a book and made this very British dark comedy about drugs, and has since moved on to a family film involving, spirits and saints, a zombie movie, and now a science fiction film about the sun dying.
Yeah, so this crew has to go to the sun, and there was apparently one crew that went before them and failed. So this is the second crew on a ship appropriately called Icarus Part 2, yeah. And they go there to reignite the sun by putting a big-ass thermonuclear bomb in it.
Well, what's interesting is that this is kind of like if you took the really cool subplot from Deep Impact and just followed that crew the whole time, that's what this is. This is about watching this crew who are completely isolated from everyone else, trying to save the world and willing to give their lives to do it, but then everything goes wrong.
Yeah, these fools are dedicated, boy, because they all of them ready to die. I tell them, let me off this ship.
Well, man, I mean, you got to figure, they're like the last chance for the human race. And, they got to complete this mission. Even if they die, on the mission, they die. If they don't complete the mission, they die anyway.
Hey, Leon, don't ever send me to save the human race, because if I got to sacrifice myself, y'all are dead.
No, we know that.
Can I just say one thing, and can I be the one to point it out?
What?
A ship sent to the sun that, the crew may not come back, and, the craziest mission known to man, and we're completely crewed by white people, Asian people, Middle Easterners, and, surprise, no blacks.
And you know what? At the point where this mission went wrong, when they made the worst decision they could ever make, I thought to myself, if there had been some black people on this crew, they would not have let them do that.
That's what they needed. They needed Sam Jackson when they had that decision. Sam Jackson sitting over in the corner being silent the whole time, and then, are you out your goddamn monkey mind?
Yeah, no, you're right about that. And for all I know, the black dude could have died before the movie even started because there's no black people in this. So, good point, man. And the thing is that I do admire the dedication of this crew. Right off the bat, it's very clear that they want to sacrifice themselves if they have to.
Right.
So I already like them right off the bat, right there.
Oh, I did too, up until they make that critically bad decision. It's one of these things where, I'm sorry, if you have any kind of common sense, you would just not do it. You would say, like, this is wrong. And the problem is when they are like, they're all intellectuals and scientists. And when they make this decision, you kind of disconnect from them emotionally somewhat. Not completely, because you still like them. But there is that point where you go like, okay, that's where y'all screwed up. And I don't feel sorry for you.
And that point that you're talking about. Now the plot twist. I'm sorry. The plot turns in this when the mission goes from being a mission to save the Earth when they have to save this first ship that went out, the Icarus 1. They get a distress signal, and they have to make a choice. Do they keep going, or do they try to see what they can salvage, including the human lives on this first ship? And let's just say, I don't want to ruin anything, but it ain't such a good idea.
No. When the man tells you stay on the path, you stay on the path. There's been, how many stories does there have to be? There was Lot, leaving Sodom and Gomorrah, or at least Lot's wife was, hey, don't look back. She looked back, she turns to salt. Then there's Persephone being led out of Hades, and Orpheus is told, don't turn around, or she has to go back. He turns around, she goes back. So here, when you're told, look, just do the mission, don't screw around, don't do nothing else, it's pretty simple.
Can you just relate this to some sort of Dr. Seuss book for me? That's a little too deep for me.
Leon, there's one important distinction you forgot to mention there.
What's that?
They all white people, baby. Every last one of them. Saul, Lot, Persephone, all white. Every last one of us.
Yeah, and a Negro been on that ship, he would have been like, y'all better turn this motherfucker around.
We are not, I don't know. Can you get a black man onto a rocket towards the sun? Hey, we're going to we're gonna strap your ass to a rocket and sling you towards the sun. How do you feel about that?
Well, if nothing else, he would have been like, look, y'all, I'm already tanned enough, okay? You want to shoot me to the sun now?
No, Carlyle's got a really good point. I mean, clearly the reason there was no black people on this ship, because none of them were willing to go. They're like, shit.
Yeah, hell, I got a sun lamp at home.
We're flying towards the sun? Oh, don't worry, we're going at night.
Yeah. Oh, now, come on. He ain't that bad. Okay. Sound like some old Amos and Andy shit right there.
But
That's not how I meant it.
I know.
But I will say this about Danny Boyle. I mean, like you say, I don't like all his movies, but he does try different things. At the same time, he does kind of do sort of the same thing a bunch. And what I noticed about this movie was it was a lot like 28 Days Later, where so much of the movie, right, 28 Days Later was a zombie flick, and you're just watching zombie, and you get to the third act, and it completely changes what it is. It's like, wait, this is not even the same type of movie I've been watching before. Mm-hmm. And this movie kind of did the same thing, where it's all a very, solid science fiction movie, and then in the third act, it becomes a horror movie.
And see, that was my problem with the movie. It is very compelling. I mean, I thought it was really great for that first 2/3. And even though it was pretty much a routine science fiction film, because if you strip the direction away, because Danny Boyle can be a great director.
Yeah.
I mean, even with the movies I don't like,
right, sure,
he's a great director. Now you strip the direction away, it's pretty much a straightforward science fiction film. A crew goes somewhere to save the Earth. We've seen that a million times. He directed it so well and made it so interesting that I was loving it. And then that last third turns into not only a stalker movie, but one that really doesn't make that much sense. So I still like the movie because the first 2/3 carried on into that last.
And I completely disagree with you. I love that last third of the movie. I love the entirety of this film. I think it's a really, truly brilliant, great science fiction film. And I don't think it doesn't make sense. This movie doesn't spoon feed you. This movie expects you to actually piece it together, and it all makes sense when you put it together. But if you're going in to watch a science fiction film and really, you do have a point. The first 2/3 don't ask a lot of you, but the last third of this film does. It's almost like 2001 without being that level of pretentious, which I love 2001. But anyhow, now I've completely strayed, and we're going to have to cut this down.
Well, I think I fall somewhere in between you guys, because while I have mixed feelings about that last third, but I can't say I didn't like it. It was almost like, in theory, I'm not crazy about him doing this again, but I really like the way it's done. And what he had to do to get to this, I think it requires such a leap in faith. I don't know how much I'm able to suspend my disbelief.
I think you really, when you say you have to go in and fill in the blanks, you just have to go in and make up the chunks that don't make sense.
Well, no. I don't feel like that. I mean, I understood.
That's how I feel. I'm not speaking for you. I'm saying that's how I feel.
I mean, I understood what happened. I mean, I was kind of like, I'm dubious to the likelihood of this, but okay, it's a movie. I'll accept that part. And once I accept that part, then I can take the rest of it.
I understood. Don't get me wrong, I understood. It still just didn't make sense how it happened. I mean, and even if it did make sense, I still think it's not as smart as the first two-thirds of the movie. I mean, the first parts were pretty intelligent and believable. That last third is just...
Well, the first two acts of this movie are essentially a variant on the old famous short story Cold Equations that, so many kids had to read in high school about, a ship out in the middle of nowhere, and they have to make really tough decisions that involve killing some of the crew. It's like, who do we sacrifice in order for this mission to continue? At the same time, though, the third act really goes in to ramp it up so that it doesn't end with okay, hey, we're here. All right, let's do this and see if it works. They really go, all right, let's make it all sorts of crazy so it really is a tense what is going to happen ending.
Although, there was like the big obvious thing, like the fact that you want to reignite the sun. And they took Johnny Storm on the mission. Seemed like they could have just flown him right into the sun, let him go supernova, and then gone back home.
Yeah, who's that? What's that dude's name?
I know his first name's Chris. I always forget his last name.
You know what I mean?
He's Johnny Storm, dude. I mean,
he's Johnny. The thing is, watching him in this, I'm like, wow, this guy's a much better actor than I ever would have gave him credit for.
Now, see, that was my point. There's a lot of movies that we see where we don't want to give actors credit, and it's the direction. A lot of these actors who we say they're not good, even Keanu Reeves, we had to come back and say, damn, when he's in the right movie, he's all right. So, yeah, no, look, I give the movie a matinee because I did enjoy it. I don't like that last third, but it's still directed well.
It's real close for me, but I'm probably going to err on the side of matinee. I mean, I think matinee is still a good rating, but I really did like this movie a lot.
Oh, this is full price all the way. I absolutely loved every minute of this movie. I may go back and see it again tomorrow.
Well, whenever y'all need somebody to go to the moon, go ahead and call me for that. But if the sun's going out, you can kiss y'all's asses goodbye. I ain't going.
We need to go in this direction just because there's got to be some comedy here. But why is it every time there is a major problem and the world is going to end, the solution Hollywood gives us is to throw a giant fucking bomb at it? It's like, oh, the Earth isn't rotating anymore. We need to dig down and set a nuclear bomb. Oh no, there's a giant asteroid coming at us. We need to send 2 different crews out to dig in and put in a giant nuclear bomb. Oh, hey, the sun's going out. Let's send a big fuck all bomb at it.
Carlyle, this is America. Bombs is all we know. If there was a flood, we would drop a bomb in it. Volcano, a bomb. That's what you do. What, low attendance in school? Bomb.
Yeah, shit. Bush was about to drop the bomb on Katrina. He thought Katrina was a monster. He didn't know it was a hurricane. They thought they had it bad with that. Anyway, sorry, y'all. I guess we better end this now.